Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is now just 13 days away, under 2 weeks until it's released by Disney and Lucasfilm, where a lot of fans around the world will have the opportunity to go ahead and see exactly what J.J. Abrams has to offer for the final installment of the Skywalker saga. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing about Episode 9 that a lot of fans are very worried about is exactly how this film is really going to deliver itself as an authentic Star Wars movie and really use itself as the culmination of the Skywalker saga, and how it's really going to connect to the prequels and the originals. Now, we have gone over through the many different changes and adjustments that Disney and Lucasfilm have gone through throughout the months of August, September, and October, which I personally am not crazy about at all in any way, shape, or form. In fact, I think it made things worse for the movie. The initial cut of The Rise of Skywalker, to be honest, had a far, better idea of what J.J. Abrams was overall going for before the massive reshoots took place in August, September, and October. Now, with that being said, the one thing that is rather unfortunate has all to do with actor Mark Hamill and, of course, the character of Luke Skywalker. Now, specifically, it's explained that through many of the changes and adjustments to the film during the months of November and December, it's explained that during the major adjustments to the film, Disney and Lucasfilm wanted to provide a different tone for the movie and to focus more on their new approach when they reshot the film back during those months. It's explained that both Disney and Kathleen Kennedy made some massive changes to some of the core characters of the story that many fans may not agree with at all. It's explained that in the final cut of the film, many of Luke Skywalker's scenes have been deleted to focus more on the new characters like Zori Bliss, Rose Tico, Jannah, as well as Rey and her friends, where it's explained that as it stands right now, that Luke has a total of 10 minutes worth of screen time in the movie, where the number of Luke scenes in the current cut of the film are said to be around 3 scenes, where 2 of which are said to be Luke's Force Ghost, and another scene is explained to be Luke Skywalker in the form of a flashback by Disney and Lucasfilm, where a de-aged Carrie Fisher as Leia will duel with her brother Luke. However, Luke Skywalker's screen time in the movie is said to be 10 minutes, not counting the voices that Rey will hear in certain scenes when she needs guidance from Master Skywalker. It's explained that this was to free up screen time for many of the new characters in the film that would get the limelight in the second act, primarily where some of the new characters are said to either sacrifice themselves or perish in a certain battle within the second and third act of the film. It's said that more than half of Luke Skywalker's scenes were cut, not just because of reshoots, but also because of some of the last-minute changes by Disney and Lucasfilm during the months of November, when they were swapping out scenes and putting new ones in from the initial cut of the movie. It said that this decision was made by Kathleen Kennedy in order to focus more on the new characters that were created by J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio, and to focus more so on them to broaden the story. Many of those changes first started during the month of October, when Kathleen Kennedy wanted a different tone for the movie, where it's noted that many of the Luke Skywalker scenes that were deleted from the film will either make their way to the Blu-ray of next year in 2020, or will remain on the cutting room floor and won't see the light of day until sometime in the distant future, when Disney feels the need to release those scenes. Now, it's said that this was also done as a way to shorten the running time of the movie down to only 142 minutes, which is slightly shorter than The Last Jedi and longer than The Force Awakens. Originally, Disney and Lucasfilm were debating on making the film close or at least toward the 3-hour mark, however decided to cut it down to 142 minutes, instead to stick with the Star Wars tradition. However, this resulted in a major loss of key scenes for the core characters in the film that many fans have loved for decades. So let's go over a couple of parts about this, and as to why I think that this is a terrible path by Disney and Lucasfilm, and exactly how they are handling the character of Luke Skywalker himself. Now, it's kind of funny when we look at the very end here, when we look at the film titled The Rise of Skywalker. It's got Skywalker in the title, and yet it really has little to nothing to do with the Skywalker family. Now, as we went over in the previous leaks, the reason as to why Skywalker is even in the title is because it all pertains to her taking on the name Skywalker, calling herself Rey Skywalker. Basically, she identifies as a part of that family, as a Skywalker bloodline. Now, with that being said, The fact that they have reduced Luke Skywalker's screen time down to 10 minutes in total, I think is something that's going to be a big, concern for fans out there that are really much, in tune with the character of Luke and are really much a big fan of Luke Skywalker in this movie. The fact that they have 2 Force Ghost scenes now at this point in time, apparently, and they only have 1 flashback scene for Luke Skywalker dueling his sister in the form of a flashback, is going to be interesting. I will admit that's going to be the highlight of the movie, I believe, is seeing a young Luke Skywalker as he appeared in Return of the Jedi in CGI form mixed with de-aging technology, and to also see Leia as she looked in Return of the Jedi, dueling with her brother. That's going to be, without a doubt, the highlight of the movie, at least I believe, because that's going to be quite, an uncanny experience to see, those versions of the Skywalker twins in an actual Star Wars movie by Disney. So, not just that, the fact that Mark Hamill did so many scenes in the forms of flashbacks and Force Ghosts throughout the months of September of 2018 and into, of course, early 2019, where he filmed a lot of the other scenes. It's just rather unfortunate that they reduced the screen time of not only Luke, but also Palpatine. So in case you guys did not know, Luke has a total of 10 minutes of screen time, and Palpatine has 12 minutes of screen time in this upcoming movie. And the fact that this film is only 142 minutes long, you can really only imagine exactly which characters are going to get the limelight that they really deserve, right? So, let me go on to something here, is that this is why I believe that adding in all these new characters are a terrible mistake and just a nuisance. It really is. It's an annoyance to me. I feel like that when we look at the original trilogy, never did we ever have so many new characters coming into these films. You look at the original trilogy, who do you think about? You think about Luke, Han, and Leia, right? Then you think about the evolution of the original trilogy, with the addition of Lando Calrissian in The Empire Strikes Back. And, well, that was basically it. You had 4 characters, right? 4 key characters in the movie that were actually taking on the Empire. Now, in The Rise of Skywalker and The Last Jedi, you had Vice Admiral Holdo, you had Rose Tico, you have now Zori Bliss, you got Jannah, you got Dominic Monaghan's character in this film. The list goes on, and it just dwindles the screen time down for the real characters that a lot of fans want to go ahead and see, this movie for. A lot of fans want to go ahead and see this movie for Luke. They want to go ahead and see it for Palpatine. There's no doubt about that. And that's the thing. When we look at these new characters, honestly, and I will say this right up front, that I really feel nothing about the new characters, like Vice Admiral Holdo and Rose Tico and Zori Bliss and Jannah. They're not really resonating with me at all, in any way. Now, I know I haven't seen the film just yet in theaters, but so far from what I have seen in TV spots and what I have read about the canon and the lore surrounding these characters, there's nothing really intriguing about them so far. The thing that we do know about Zori Bliss is that she did have some kind of romantic relationship with Poe Dameron before the events of The Force Awakens, so that's that little side story. The whole deal with Jannah is that she grew up on the ocean moon called Kef Bir, so she actually grew up on the world where the Death Star 2 wreckage is at. So it really does make you wonder, is it Jannah who leads Rey and her crew to the Death Star 2 wreckage? That's a very big possibility. So, like I've always said before in the past, Disney and Lucasfilm, it really seems like that they don't understand Star Wars. They keep making a lot of mistakes with the sequel trilogy. The Force Awakens was decent. The Last Jedi was a big fail, in my opinion. And The Rise of Skywalker, at the end of the day, may be an improvement. How much of an improvement really all depends on how it's going to be executed on the big screen and how much of an impact these Luke and Palpatine scenes will really have on the audience. That's exactly what really matters, right? So, with that being said, I would really love to hear what each and every one of you have to say about this situation involving the screen time of the 2 main characters, Palpatine and Luke, and exactly what you guys feel about these new characters like Jannah, Zori, etc., etc. Do you guys agree with me? Do you guys disagree with me? I would love to hear your opinions on that below in the comments. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.